I will call this meeting to order. It is the L&A subcommittee of the RTM. It is Tuesday, January 19th at 9:02 p.m. Thank you, Drew, for taking minutes. The first item, I believe, on our agenda here for our subcommittee would be item 7, Mark Joyella, but he was not able to join us, I believe, tonight. So do we have a motion?
Interrupt for a minute, Josh? Can I interrupt? On the official thing, I'm supposed to talk about the minutes from last time, which we never do. So, but that's not important. I could just ignore that because that's on the form of questions I'm supposed to answer.
Technically, we're supposed to approve them.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to approve the minutes at the subcommittee?
Is this like a new thing?
Yeah.
No, it's always been there. We just never do it. But technically, yes. The answer to that is technically yes. We're all supposed to be doing it. All committees are supposed to be approving them.
Okay, well, thank you for raising that, Drew. Okay, so let's take that up. So do I have a motion on the minutes of the organizational meeting on December 14th and special meeting on December 21st? Can we take those together?
Sure. I'll move them if you want. It's Pam.
Thank you, Pam. Do we have a second?
I'll second. It's Karen.
Thank you. Any discussion?
And those were for which meetings? We did 2?
If you just steal it off the agenda, I would suggest just copy and paste it off the agenda. Okay, so any discussion on these? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Moving to number 7. This is
I just want to check one more time. Did Jeff join us or not?
I did. And can I just chime in for one quick second? Is there any way, and maybe this is just me out of all members, but I never can find the number to dial in. And Betsy sends 12 documents, and they're all entitled. They have the same exact title, so I have to go through all 12, and then I never find it.
No. Jeff,
this is ridiculous.
The number 1.
Jeff,
listen, Bill,
will say. Yeah,
yep.
Jeff, the easiest thing to do is on the agenda for the RTM meeting at the bottom, it gives the names of the committees and the phone number.
Right.
I can't
so
even
you
find
open up
it.
the agenda and scroll down.
Yeah. All right.
It's at the end of the agenda in red.
All right. My problem. I'll deal with it. Thanks.
No worries.
No, it's you're not the only one. It's hard to find.
You are not alone.
Okay, so I think we have everyone on tonight. So the next item is item 7, Mark Joyella for appointment to the Fair TV Commission. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve him.
One of you want to make that a second?
Pam?
Sure. Whatever you guys want. Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Karen,
Mark is my neighbor and is a good guy and also has tons of experience in television and journalism. So I don't know what happened tonight. He was supposed to be there, but I'll make sure he's there next week. But I would recommend him. If you looked at his resume, he's very qualified.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think based on past practices, some of us might choose to abstain until he comes before us, right?
Yeah.
Any other conversation? Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Do we need a roll call, or how do you want to? Drew, are you okay?
I'm good, unless I just need to know who says no and who abstains.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? I'm abstaining. This is Josh.
I'll abstain.
Okay. Okay, moving on to number 8. This is appointments to the Ethics Commission, Brian Cantor and Dana Carey. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Can we separate them? Oh, sorry.
Sure. So how about Brian Cantor first? Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
That's
okay,
Jill?
Jill's motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay.
Drew will second.
Any discussion?
He seems very qualified.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Moving on to, again, for the Ethics Commission, Dana Carey. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Bill.
I'll second.
Pam is
All right.
Pam is motioning and Bill is seconding?
Sure.
Sounds
Is
good.
that what I heard?
Yep.
Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions?
I'm
I
abstaining.
abstain.
It's
Okay.
Karen.
Karen is abstaining. Were there any other
And Drew.
abstentions?
And Drew.
And Drew.
Okay. Okay, moving on to the Special Project Standing Building Committee, Stephen Kornitik, I think it was. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
So,
We've got a motion and
Jeff-
a second.
Jeff is
Yep.
motioning and Karen is seconding?
That's fine.
Yep.
Works for me. Any discussion on this item?
He's so young. It's great to get somebody young volunteering
Yeah, he is young.
for town.
Totally.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
He said he'd lived here his whole
Aye.
life, so
Aye.
He has.
Yeah.
It's their family that
Aye.
has been here forever. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Moving on to item 10. This is the sale of the property on Riverside Drive for $22,500. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second, Karen.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
Well, Josh, I think that if this does go through, we should amend it for the way that you suggested with the H. Smith Richardson Trust.
I agree with Jill.
Agreed.
I couldn't hear that. What did you say, Jill?
I think that we should amend it to have whatever funds we get to go into the H. Smith Richardson Fund for open space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good idea.
So are you making that
Did
amendment
anybody-
here, or we would just make that amendment on the floor?
I want to. Does anybody listen to the? I agree. By the way, I think it should definitely go into the trust. I don't want it to go into the regular fund. Did anybody watch the Board of Selectmen meeting by chance? Was there an answer on who makes the? Jim Wentz said that there was discussion about who can make the amendment of where the money goes. Can we do that? Does anybody know if we can?
he listed all three bodies. But if we approve it, I got the impression that if we approve it, with this understanding that.
Like, can we make that amendment? Karen, could you find out from the town attorney if we can amend it so that it goes? Like, are we enough of an authority to do it?
Yeah, I'll ask him. So maybe we should table this for an hour. Well, you could take a vote if you want. I don't know. I
was going to abstain because I'd like it. I was going to abstain just because I would like it to go into the fund.
Yeah, I mean, if it's open space, it's been open since 1957.
I just don't know who. I know the reverse of the situation we designate, but I don't know what the rule is when we purchase. I don't know if that has to come out of the Board of Selectmen or not.
Okay, I'll ask Jim.
It seemed like there were other issues, though, that people had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With the appraisal.
Issues. I just don't think that we're getting enough money for it. It's so undervalued. I mean, I'm
and
being
land in the beach area is all it is.
What?
It's all about property in the beach area. It's all about land. Like, your house is worth $70,000 and your land is worth $900,000.
Yeah, I mean,
I
have a teeny parcel right next to us. It's literally 500 square feet, and I would be embarrassed to offer them anything less than $15,000.
Can Can I ask a question? I admittedly am not familiar with this piece of property. I haven't driven by it. I don't know what it looks like. If it was put out, if it was appraised, right, and then put out to bid, and no one else bid on it, and really no one else would want this thing, how do you change the outcome of that?
They have to raise the lowest bid that's acceptable. I mean, the comps that they found aren't. They're not real comps. They're not good comparisons to this property.
But so
I have two issues. So
but wait, can I just finish this?
Yeah.
Sure. Only because I have a train of thought here, because I don't understand. So if there is a minimum bid, right? So to say, so as you suggested, and no one meets that minimum bid, then what is the point of that? Because let's just say, for argument's sake, no one takes. We set the minimum bid for $50,000, right? And no one takes it. Do we then lower that and try and get a different price? Because what I don't want to have happen here is where you lose out an opportunity for a person to take on a piece of property and then actually increase the value of their property, thus increasing the property tax that we can collect on this. If we bid this piece of property at a price that no one takes it, we end up net zero because it's just vacant land we're not collecting any taxes on. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes. And I have 2 points on that. They have not worried about the taxes since 1957. I have 3 points. That's 1 point. Second point is the guy buying this has a non-conforming lot. So this is valuable to him because this will turn his lot into a conforming lot. The third thing that I object to very much is that they gathered all the interested parties together and they agreed that this one guy would make the bid. So is that really a bidding process, or is that, are you working against the town's interests by gathering up all the interested parties and having them all agree, oh, Bob's going to buy it for $24?
Drew, I don't understand that. Can you explain that, Drew? Drew, can you explain that? Because
do you know the property?
What other interested parties would there be?
I was told that Jim Baldwin called up the two adjoining the two people who abut the property, and they had like a Zoom meeting regarding the property, and that it was agreed that the guy with the non-conforming lot would buy the property. So this is my point of, the bid goes out to bid, but it's not really an auction if only, So the one guy who has the structure on it said, okay, I'll tear my structure down and I'll let the other guy bid on it for 24. And back channels, this is not anything that I can put in writing, is that then later they're going to split it up differently. That I don't know, but I don't know why you gather the interested parties instead of just putting it up for bid, and they can bid against each other because they're two people that abut this property. So I don't know if that was in the best interest of the town.
So is it not true that this guy's not looking to put a garage on it?
That I did not hear.
I thought the presentation that Jim Went made was that the homeowner is the adjacent property was purchasing it, and they plan to put a garage on the property. That's not
true.
Right,
then his lot will be conforming, and he, again, you have to have a setback, right? So without this property, he doesn't have the setback for the garage, I would assume, right? I mean, you have to.
Right, but you just mentioned that you heard they're going to split it all up.
Well, Drew, I mean that's a
I don't know.
Legit. Drew, can you hear me?
Could be town hall gossip. I don't know.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's a worthwhile question. Can they split the property and both of them build garages? I mean, if that's the case, then this is sort of a sham process. Then it wasn't really an actual bid. But
because
I don't know
if all
if
they
we have
need is 7-foot setback, and you give one guy 12 feet and the other guy gets 3 feet, and all of a sudden they both have 7-foot setbacks.
I don't know if that's possible on property, but we could find out. But
again, that still goes back to my original question of if they're getting the if no one else is going to buy this thing to begin with, and then we're adding in this land so that, let's just argue for argument's sake, let's say we're increasing the value of both sides of the property. Both of them put garages on. Both of them increase everything, and now we're getting even more money in taxes.
Yeah, I think it's a legitimate question as to how you're going to value it. But if you value it based on some formula based on the increase in the property values, you could say that, we're just going to set a minimum value. I mean, you could make the argument to give it to them for zero, right? If your whole thing is they're both going to put garages on, it's going to raise their value of their house, it'll increase their property taxes. Why not just give it to them? But, and that's probably legitimate, except that we could probably get a hell of a lot more than that, and maybe we're undervaluing it, and maybe the bidding process was sort of rigged. We don't know. I mean, you could ask for, are there any limitations on subdivision? Can we say it can't be subdivided? That'd be one way to find out whether it was rigged.
Okay, and I'd like to play devil's advocate for one more thing. So I agree with you, Pam, that we want our grand list to grow. It takes, reduces the burden on taxpayers. So let's say they're both paying $15,000 in taxes, right? I drove by. I couldn't quite figure out which the property was. Maybe one's paying $15,000, one's paying $20,000. What are their taxes going to go up? $1,000 versus charging, instead of $24,000, you charge $50,000. It's going to take however many years to get to that absolute dollar value. So I agree that we want our people to pay more taxes, but taxes are for absolute money. So the money is as important as the taxes are.
No, I get that. I just don't want to, and I actually don't want to give the property away for zero, even if we do get tax dollars for it. What I'm worried about is a floor that you could never reach, and then you miss out on an opportunity to get this onto the payroll.
I think it's a legitimate question.
Did they try?
So the question is, what's the appropriate floor? And if the valuation that was done is not appropriate, then someone might make the decision that we should ask for more. And if they don't want to take it, I mean, there is an issue. They're maintaining it. I don't know at what point it becomes their land just by maintaining it for a certain period of time. There's probably some risk of that as well.
So this goes back to my process question. Can I ask a question about process? Like, why do we have open bids like this? Why don't we have closed bids, right? I mean, you might want it, person on the left, person on the right. Give us a bid. You know what it's worth. You can, and give us a closed bid on it, and the person with the highest number wins.
Well, they live next to each other.
Or say, you want this property? Give us a price. Why is we say, here's the. Anyway, I'm not in real estate.
We might be overthinking this.
And also I think even if they hadn't had a Zoom meeting with the two owners, I mean, the two owners could have figured it out on their own to put in one bid together. I mean, this might have been the outcome even if there was no Zoom call. So I'm not sure that changed anything.
But if this had been a more open process too, an entrepreneur could come in and say, hey, there are two neighbors who are interested and need to get this land to have conforming lots. I'm going to bid higher than them and sell it to them.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's
a good thing.
I don't
know how likely that is, but
yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad. And I wonder what we can do at this point. What'd you say? They must have really wanted what?
No, if they really want a garage that badly, that would be great. I mean, there's a lot of speculation here, and it's just a matter of whether or the approach we want to take.
Well, I'll say.
So, but again, a long, skinny lot would give you your 7-foot setback.
Hold on 1 second, Drew. Wait. 5,300 square feet is big. I grew up in a house on a lot that was 50 by 100, 5,000 square feet. That's a pretty big lot. I'm surprised it's on a building lot. And this is a little...
It's 0.12 acres. We don't have, right? It's 0.12 acres.
Yeah.
We don't have any buildings allowed on 0.12 acres. I think our
around the
our
beach
minimum
area.
is like 0.12.
But the guy who is buying it has one of the biggest houses in the area and Porsches in his driveway and stuff. So that just on a justice point of view, it bugs me a little that he's getting it for $20,000. But I don't know what we can do about it at this point.
If it's undervalued,
we can ask
you could
the
ask for
questions
another
we want to
valuation.
ask about. We could ask the questions about whether it could be subdivided and both owners, if there's a potential for both owners to take pieces of this and have buildable garage space, right? That's one question we have.
I agree with that.
So we could ask Jim Wendt to come back to the full body if he's not already coming to talk about that. We could, other than rejecting this, I'm not sure what else we can do in terms of trying to get a higher price.
We could ask.
Yeah.
At least if he has all those Porsches, we know it'll be a nice garage.
Right. What'd you say, Bill?
No, I was going to say if we don't think, I wouldn't know, but if we don't think the valuation was done the right way, there are different ways to do valuations, and maybe ask for another one. That's another thing you could do. If the valuation was done with a certain sort of mindset that didn't look at the incremental value to the house. This guy's house is valued at like $900,000, and maybe this will add another couple $100,000. I have no idea, but we could ask if someone who understands real estate could say, no, we want you to look at this, in terms of the incremental value that's going to accrue to the property after it's done.
And the town's been hanging on to it since 1957, so I don't think there's a rush.
Bill,
I wonder if that
just
guy
for your information, I just looked at my deed, and mine's 0.14 acres. My house is on 0.14 acres. I'm in the beach area. Beach area lots are really small. This kind of land in a beach area is like gold. If this kind of opportunity rarely comes up. It's just so unique, and people salivate over this kind of thing. It's just we're all scheming to come up with ways to get more land, and so I just really have a strong feeling that this is way undervalued.
But it has no value if nobody else wants it. Like, you can't do anything with it, right? That's the part that I'm not processing.
Because he might have
do
if they had a higher base minimum than $25,000, I think that was the minimum. Then this guy could definitely have paid it. I think, based on what his house is like and his cars are like and everything. And he's on the other side of his house is Ash Creek or Turney Creek. It's a lovely area. I don't know his personal financial situation, but I think it sounds like there was no opportunity to find out what higher number could have been.
Because we handed him the number and he said, okay.
Yeah, we handed him the evaluation.
So the understanding here is we went out as a town, got an appraisal. The appraised value came back at $26,000 or whatever the number is. And then we went to the abutting property owners and said, we have this property for $26,000. Do either of you want to buy it?
And instead of getting into a bidding war, they agreed that one would buy it. And that's what I heard through the grapevine. That's just saying.
As opposed to
a bidding war.
But the owners didn't approach us and say we want to buy the land, and we're like, oh, okay, and then we got an appraisal. It was definitely
we don't know. And
one of the property owners had built a structure on it. They were using it as their own, so they were, So who knows? Maybe the guy just decided he wanted a garage and he's like, oh, I'm going to approach the town. I have no idea.
I think that we. All right. So my recommendation in all of this is that you better have the town attorney here on Monday to answer the questions of how this whole thing worked.
I just added that to questions to ask him beforehand too. Drew, did you say you heard that it was initially valued at $63,000?
That was some number someone sent to me. I can look back on my notes. So we're going to request that the property can't be subdivided?
No, I think that you need to request that the town attorney and Jim Wendt come back and answer all of our questions. Yeah. I personally am not signing on to any restrictions right now. I just would like them to come and explain some stuff to us. I'm not looking to I personally am not looking for any restrictions at this particular point.
The town attorney and Jim Wendt return. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
It would be nice. It would be nice to get comfortable.
Again, it's how it. You know, it could be worth $100,000. I mean, I don't know. Whatever. At least he'll be appraised sooner than later. So that's good.
Are we ready to take a vote?
I think so.
Hearing no comment, I'll take that as a yes. All those in favor of the item? All those opposed to the item? All those abstaining would be everyone else, I think.
Josh, I'm a no.
Okay. You're a no. Okay, we have a no. Sorry.
I'm a
no. Any other no's?
I'm a no.
Sorry, we're going too fast.
And then everyone else is abstained?
I believe that's correct.
I'm abstaining, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, moving right along here to number 11.
So, Josh, I'm sorry. What was the final count on that? Two no's.
Two
no's. It was 0-6.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. So item 11 is the amendment to the lease and license agreement for not FTC, FCT, which is going to get very confusing. Do I have a motion?
So it's from Fairfield Community Theater, FCT. I'm sorry, who motioned?
I'll motion for that.
That'd be Jill. Okay. Who's seconding?
And did we get a second yet?
Karen. I seconded.
Okay. Any discussion on this item? I wasn't quite clear how he left it with the timeline of the lease. Are we going to let that ride? His answer was kind of like, yeah, I noticed that too.
The July date?
But did he say he went back and Mr. Kleban agreed to April, or did I not?
Yeah,
I was having trouble.
No,
was anyone else having trouble following that?
Yeah, I didn't really understand
that. He said we need to amend. He's asking us to amend it so that the term is now April 1 to October 31st, and Kleban said that was okay. Maybe Jim can provide us with something more official. I don't know, but like he could change it or change the amendment before we vote, maybe.
Amend lease.
Okay, well, somebody should probably send us that amendment language.
Amend lease to start April 1?
Yeah, April 1 and end October 31st. I'll ask him to do that. I'll ask him and Mark to send language.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item?
No, but I'm going to abstain pending that language.
I don't want to get us bogged down, believe me, but there's a whole other conversation here about, outdoor dining and what the new policy is and what the, that's a big conversation. And also we never got into like who got their rents waived, and did everyone get their rents waived? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was only for 3 months.
What were you talking about? Pam, you said that some people pay more than others for being on the sidewalk. Is that what you said?
Yeah, because Chelsea pays a lot more per square foot than Centro does to have their patio space. And then now the community theater has a whole nother deal on what they pay. And not being a real estate agent, I was trying to say, when you're renting office space, there's like Class A office space and, not. And that's how your square footage is all set up. And if you're in Class A office space, you're all paying the same rate, right? You're all paying, $25 a square foot or whatever.
Chelsea's is year-round, correct?
Yeah, but everybody's is subject to the zoning board. So I'm talking square footage, the payments per square footage. So
no, I agree. I was just pointing out that Chelsea is year-round square footage and Centro is seasonal square footage.
No, I know, but if you look at their base rate, like here, it's right here. One of them's paying the patio at Centro. They're paying $13.72 a square foot, and the Chelsea's paying $45.18 per square foot. So my
they pay
question
that to the landlord,
is,
right?
No, they pay that to the town.
Oh.
These are our leases with them. So my question is, somebody's either getting a hell of a deal, or somebody's getting a really bad deal, in my opinion. But Jim Baldwin said, well, it depends on what they're next to and what they're getting, and I mean, arguably in my mind.
But if that's true, Pam, I think Centro would pay more.
Well, I was just going to say that. In my mind, Centro certainly has a much nicer. I mean, you're overlooking the town green.
Yeah.
And you have all that great parking.
Correct. So I would think that their patio would be valued more. Now, I personally could make an argument we shouldn't be charging our restaurants at all to use any of our sidewalk space, and we should be encouraging them to do outdoor dining in an effort to expand economic development, and we get rid of all this leasing sidewalk nonsense to begin with. But that's a whole nother discussion. But
Pam,
if we're
going to do for you, is the Chelsea is it the covered glass area that's on the town property?
No, it's literally structure? So what happens is when you go to do outdoor dining, there's a certain you have a certain as the owner of the building, you own a certain section of the property, right? But then the town owns a certain amount of feet from the sidewalk, from the curb back. And at the Chelsea, they wanted to expand onto the town sidewalk for their seating because it's very narrow there. Right. We're only talking about outdoor seating, the outdoor dining part. So when they open their folding doors to Chelsea and go onto that immediate sidewalk area, if they're in the town encroachment, they have to pay for that. Whereas other places that you don't see a lease with the town, they're not in the town encroachment, so they don't have to pay to be there.
I think the Chelsea might be on the parking lot too.
The sidewalk in front and not the glassed-in terrarium. That's not
correct. The glassed-in terrarium's their property. They don't pay for that. That's part of they own that. Okay. That terrarium's always been part of the building, back to when it was Sarah Bond and, whatever.
I know. I just didn't – it seems sort of like an add-on to the building, so I thought maybe it was $45 a square foot because it was permanent.
No, that's not my recollection of how that worked over there. They went out in front. They went out. In fact, the Chelsea had the sidewalk area in front of like the awning, and then they wanted additional seating, and they went out in front of their glass area,
right,
to get more sidewalk space.
I agree with you, Pam.
I just don't know why it doesn't
standard square foot cost.
Well, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But, Jim raised a good point back that, maybe some people are paying more because they're in a better location. It seems to me the reverse of that in this particular instance. But to his point also, he didn't negotiate these. And let's see, they both started within a month of each other last time around. I don't know. I just think it was worth looking at. That's why I raised the issue.
So as far as our business tonight, do we want to make some kind of statement or questions about that, or just proceed with this FCT lease with the amendment as discussed?
Should we request what Pam wants and say, please provide cost per square foot as it applies to dining on sidewalks or something? If there,
I don't think that's how they do it. I think
is,
they're just negotiating deals.
Yeah, there's really nothing like that's why I couldn't ask too much, because he's negotiating that right now. He can't talk about that stuff in public. That's why I asked the question the way I asked it.
There should be, like you said, though, a standard square foot starting point.
I don't know what. Yeah, well, that's sort of what I was saying to him, and he said he would definitely take that into advisement. He knew what I was saying. I think he gets it. But that's on the lease report. Are we still on the Old Post Tavern thing? I'm calling it Old Post Tavern because I
yes,
we
are
item 11,
on the Old Post Tavern thing.
But I think we, as an RTM, we approved that deal for the Old Post for community theater to have that spot and the rate, right? And then they're just now amending it to account for this other restaurant. The other restaurant's getting the same deal as what we gave them for Old Post Tavern. Am I correct?
I don't think RTM approves those leases, do we?
We approved that whole deal with the FTC.
Yeah.
I guess we must have.
I'm calling it the wrong
Not
thing.
the FTC, the Old Post.
No, I know. I'm calling it Old Post Tavern, okay?
OPT.
Yeah, I guess we must have.
I don't think there's much I don't think we could do much here, because I think we're the ones that signed the original agreement, is what I'm trying to say. But maybe I'm wrong.
Okay,
I
so
don't
should
know
we
if it's the
take
same rent. Sorry, go ahead.
So we're going to find out about the language for an amendment based on the timing of the lease. And is there anything else we want to discuss before we take a vote? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, no, I'm abstaining. Sorry.
So Jill.
All those opposed?
Okay, who's in favor? Just Jill?
And Bill.
Okay.
All those opposed? All those abstentions? Aye.
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 Basically everybody else.
Right.
Okay, which brings us to item 12, which is the grant and town dollars toward the engine maintenance costs on the two and upgrades to engine maintenance on the 33-foot Safe Boat Defender and 23-foot Safe Boat, and upgrades to the electronics on the 33-foot Safe Boat. So it's the grant and then some town money, like maybe
$16,000, I think he said. Right?
Yeah, $16,000 of town money and a little less than $50,000 of grant money. Is there any? I need a motion on this. Thank you.
I move to approve.
So Karen.
Okay, that sounds like a motion and a second.
Pam, who's seconding? Pam.
I think that was Karen.
I will, sure. Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have Karen.
Hard to do.
Karen making the motion. Pam. I'm trying to take turns, everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Any discussion?
Seems like a no-brainer to me. Yeah.
I have a question. Will this will come out of an existing budget, or this is like a $16,000 additional allocation?
Existing budget.
Yeah. The chief said that in one of his responses to an email question, that it'll be out of their budget.
Anything else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay. And as you all know, we have on February 3rd, we are taking up the elderly and disabled homeowners. Is that what it's really called? Tax relief for the elderly and disabled homeowners ordinance. I've been calling it the wrong thing for a long time.
Should
that
I
is
put
on February
that in
3rd.
Should I put that in the minutes? Should I put that in the minutes?
The reminder about the
meeting? Committee will meet on February 3rd?
Yep, that's a good idea.
To meet on, was it 7:30?
Yes.
February 3 at 7:30. Okay.
Do you want a motion
thank you, everybody.
to
Anything
adjourn?
else?
I'll move to adjourn.
I'd love a motion to adjourn. Thank you. And a second?
Moved.
I'll second.
All right.
Karen and Jill.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.